Hey, what's going on, guys? So, this is my new series called Too Long Didn't Play, where I give you everything you need to know and possibly more about a video game, just in case your Tinder date you're going out within an hour or so has some weird obsession with a certain video game. Watch this video and maybe you won't look dumb and they won't go fuck one of your best friends instead because he's a speedrunner in that game. Obviously that's a joke, because everybody in the speedrunning community is acoustic and can't get laid. So Outlast 2 takes place around the Havasupai Indian Reservation somewhere in central Arizona. The character you play is named Blake Longerman, who is the husband and cameraman of journalist Lynn Longerman. The two are investigating the mystery of a dead woman who they call Jane Doe. Jane Doe was a 15-year-old girl that was found 8 months pregnant and taken to a hospital where she then apparently committed suicide according to their records. While taking a helicopter in to investigate, there is a large flash of light and the helicopter crashes, resulting in Blake going unconscious and imagining he is back in his old Catholic grade school. There are many parts of Outlast 2 that takes place in this setting, where you learn more about Lynn and Blake's childhood friend, Jessica Gray. Jessica had hung herself when they were kids because one of the Catholic fathers employed by the school had been molesting her. When Blake wakes up near the crash, he finds that Lynn is missing and the pilot has been killed and hung up on display in front of him. You begin to progress through a small town that was not supposed to exist out in this location, and eventually find Lynn, who has been captured by an insane religious cult that believes Lynn is pregnant with the Antichrist. This cultish group is led by Papa Sullivan Noth, who has his followers kill all babies. During the escape, Blake and Lynn get caught in the middle of a fight between Papa Noth's religious group and another group called the Heretics. The Heretics are led by Val, who was once a member of Noth's group but then left and started her own. The two groups hate each other and seem to have their own territories. Lynn gets captured by the Heretics, and now Blake has to rescue her again. Blake meets a man named Ethan, who gives him a safe haven after telling Blake about his 15-year-old daughter who fled the compound after becoming pregnant by Noth. It becomes clear that Ethan's daughter is Jane Doe. Shortly after getting some rest, Blake wakes to hear and see a demonic woman named Marta slaughtering Ethan. Going further in the game, you end up at a large church where you discover that Lynn has been taken to some mines. Throughout this game, Blake has blackouts where he goes back to his childhood school, but it becomes clear that these are not normal blackouts because Blake is still moving around the real world while they're going on. They are more like hallucinations. While making your way to the mines, your character Blake has to go through the area of the Scald. The Scald is a very sick group of Noth believers who have been segregated. These people are ill with syphilis and gonorrhea, which are both diseases that run rampant in Noth's cultish group due to all the shared sexual contact with Papa Noth and his followers. It is discovered, however, that Noth takes medications for his STDs, leaving the rest of his people shit out of luck. The members aren't really aware of this, however, and the Skald just believe that they have a sickness of the soul, where their sins manifest in physical form. The Skald is led by Laird, who is a small deformed man, and Nick, who is large and strong. Laird rides on the back of Nick, and the two keep the Skald in line and prevent anyone from escaping. Upon finding Blake, Laird calls him their messiah, and the group crucifies him in an attempt to free themselves from their diseases. Blake briefly escapes his crucifixion by removing the nails in his hands, but gets captured again shortly after, where Laird tries to bury him alive. After once again escaping death, Blake leaves the Skald compound, but not before Laird and Nick get killed by their followers due to their anger with the leadership and their lack of belief in the gospel. Moving toward the mines, Blake comes across a lake that is filled with dead bodies. In this lake, you find a note that begins to give clues to why everyone in the area is insane and violent, and why Blake keeps having hallucinations. They are using radio frequencies as an experiment to see how it affects the people in this area, causing them to have violent or sexual urges and to go insane. This note also mentions the name Jenny Rowland, aka Jennifer Rowland from Outlast 1, meaning the two games are very much connected. After further progression across the lake and more hallucinations, Blake makes it to the elevator that takes him down into the mines. After trying to escape Val and the Heretics and find Lynn, Blake gets drugged by Val's followers and wakes up to see his pregnant wife tied up and surrounded by what is possibly an orgy. Blake is then implied to be raped or molested by Val. During this scene, Blake hallucinates again and appears back in his school. In this section, Blake is with Jessica late after school and the two are found by Father Laudermilch, who then tells Blake to leave while he is going to punish Jessica. As Blake is leaving, he hears Jessica scream and runs towards her. He finds Jessica lying at the bottom of a stairwell, battered and bruised, and mostly motionless. It is then discovered that Father Laudermilch probably killed Jessica by pushing her down the stairs and then framed it as a suicide. After waking up, Blake is in the middle of another skirmish between the Heretics and Noth's cult as they are fighting over Lynn. Blake and Lynn escape and get out of the mines to discover the sun is gigantic and everything looks very post-apocalyptic. After another short confrontation with Marta, she gets killed by some form of divine intervention impaling her from above. After making their way to a church, Lynn gives birth and begins to die. During this scene, it is unknown whether Lynn actually had a baby or if it was just everyone hallucinating, because there is no shadow to be seen from the baby that Blake is holding, and furthermore, as Lynn is dying, her last words are, "There's nothing there." Papa Noth appears and tells Blake he should have killed the baby sooner, then he slits his own throat. As Blake walks outside, he can see all the cult members dead around him from suicide by poison. The sun then grows increasingly brighter and engulfs the screen, where Blake wakes up back in the school as a kid with Jessica. The two then begin to pray as the game ends. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I'm gonna probably make more content like this because I don't know, I think it might be helpful to some people, you know, if you ever need to fucking learn about the story of a game and everything you need to know about it or something. You know what I mean. Let me know if there's another game you want me to do or you think I should do, and I will probably do that. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Alright.